Awesome, man. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Startup Confessions with Jesse. And with me is a very special person, friend. We met on Fiverr a couple of years ago. But it's an honor that he's here on the podcast and he's one of our first guests. Wow, super excited, man. I have
Yeah.
Andre Walker here. Andre Walker
Yep.
is, like I said, we met on Fiverr. And it's been awesome since then. Had a very good conversation, last year. But today we were able to get him on the show. And for the record, let's make it very clear: Andre is a big-time entrepreneur. He's an investor, a founder of Obsidian Marketing Group. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
So Andre is also called the Mindpreneur. With a background in corporate America, Andre pivoted to build his own ventures focused on personal brand development, travel, and helping mission-driven businesses scale. He has worked with brands across the US and internationally, blending strategy, storytelling, community building to create meaningful impact. Awesome, man. That's a lot, man. That's a beautiful
Yeah.
bio, by the way.
No, appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you.
So, Andre, could you give me a background of what you do and how you serve your clients? Let's take it up from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So my background, was born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. I grew up, went off to college where I was able to compete in track, athletics, and also, study and get my degree in business and minor in marketing. And once I graduated, I went back home to St. Louis and I started working with a lot of local organizations, nonprofit organizations, and churches. And there was a big gap that I saw in their digital footprint, when it came to their website, social media platforms, et cetera.
Okay.
And so for me, I really wanted to get involved really quickly. I'm big. I'm a Christian. I'm big. I love God. I'm big in church. My dad actually owned one of the churches.
That's
And so
awesome.
I knew I wanted to get involved. I knew I wanted to help out however I could. And so the church actually invested in me. They offered to pay for me to go to a marketing
Okay.
conference. And that's where I learned even more skills than I learned in college.
Okay.
And from there, I started my marketing business. So ever since then, I've been working to help out. I don't like to call them smaller businesses. I call them local businesses. I love working with local businesses, helping them with their digital footprint, websites, social media, etc. And then I also, as you mentioned, I started the Mindpreneur. And the Mindpreneur is a consulting firm. And I work with coaches, I work with business owners, I work with corporate professionals. And the goal there is to challenge individuals to think bigger and better and smarter, and for them to help them execute in a way that they never have before. So in a nutshell, that's a little bit about my background, and yeah, I'm excited to be here with you.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much for that sweet opening. Honestly, I'm super excited about a very, very important part of your business, which is all about travel. Can you tell us more about travel? Because I noticed you're all about the lifestyle, the travel, the entrepreneurship. How does that come together?
Yeah, travel is a big part of not only who I am, but what I believe every business owner, every corporate professional, every human being should have in their life. And the reason being is, when you travel, you are able to expand your mind. You're able to expand not only just by visiting a new place, but
Yeah.
by the cultures and people that you interact with, by the different languages that you get to learn, by the different
Yeah.
foods, and just the way people do things. It expands your horizon. You start to think differently. You start to understand that, hey, we're all alike in some ways and we have our differences, but that's what makes this world beautiful. I love traveling. I love America because of it being a melting pot, and a lot of people come there. But I was like, I want to see what their hometown looks like, why they go so hard, why they do what they
Yeah.
do. And as I've been able to travel more, I've learned so much more. I've connected more. It's grown my business. Now I've been able to speak internationally across multiple platforms, and it's truly just a blessing. And it's something that I encourage everybody to do because, it's just something that you can't, they always say that travel is essentially like reading a book. And those who don't travel only read one page. Well, I don't
Yeah.
want to read one page. I want to read the whole entire book. I want to see as many places as possible. And I really enjoy that. So for me, it's all about encouraging individuals to travel more because what I see is it challenges people as an independent person, especially if you do solo travel. It challenges you as an independent person to strategically and logically think. Like if you're stuck in the middle of a country that you don't know about, you have to think, okay, hey, how do I get from point A to B? I have to work on my communication
Yeah.
skills to talk to individuals. I have to work, through a lot of different things. So travel is a huge part of my brand. And I'm just enjoying having fun. I love it.
Mm. Yeah, honestly, I can't agree more because to me, travel has always been the bedrock of experience. Because if you don't travel, you don't have much experiences. You're just tied to a particular place, particular mindset, and I think that brings me down to the word mindpreneur. Can you give us,
Yeah,
a brief breakdown of what you mean by mindpreneur and how does it really, really affect? Yeah.
yeah. So
So
the
give us the background
mindpreneur,
of mindpreneur.
okay, okay. Yeah. So the mindpreneur has a mixed approach, as you can probably hear it in the word mind and preneur. So mindset is the key, and then entrepreneur is another part of the
Yeah.
world. But in my case, with mindpreneur, you don't have to be an entrepreneur. I believe everybody should be one or two things. You should be an entrepreneur or you should be an intrapreneur. Entrepreneurs are
Okay.
individuals who work within they work within a
Okay.
company. So I can work for my boss, I can work for corporate America, I can work for a nonprofit organization, for a church. But even within
Yeah.
that organization, I should have an entrepreneurial spirit. How am I helping the brand move forward? How am I thinking like
Yeah.
the boss? How am I thinking like the CEO to find opportunities to make this organization better? And then as an entrepreneur, I mean, that's a given. You should be a self-starter. You should be someone who adapts to change. You should be someone who is a go-getter and is the hardest working person in the room. And so when I thought about why most people don't succeed, I
Yeah.
realized that most people, they don't really adapt to the changes in places that we are now. They don't think smarter. A lot of people, I always say, think better, work smarter,
Yeah.
and work harder. But a lot of individuals, they struggle with that concept.
Yeah.
They don't really understand, okay, how do I do more? I mean, how do I get more while doing less? And so within the mindpreneur, we teach individuals how to
Yeah.
scale their business, how to grow in their career, how to become better leaders while doing less. And so for me, it's all about the execution style, productivity. Like, what does your day look like? Are you setting goals before you even wake up the next day? Are you executing those goals? And then what tools are you using? We have access to AI now. We have access to so many productivity hacks and tools. How are you utilizing
Yeah.
those to make your life easier? That's all about the mindpreneur.
Wow, awesome, man. I I noticed something. I just love the combination of mind and preneur, to be honest.
Yeah.
I just love the combination, man. All right, so
Yeah.
could you tell us a bit about, moving from corporate America, into this something big? Share
Yeah.
with us.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I started off in corporate America back in about 2012. And for me, it was about learning. I always knew I was going to be an entrepreneur. My dad was an entrepreneur. My mom was an entrepreneur. My aunts and uncles were entrepreneurs. So for me, it was inevitable that I was going to be an entrepreneur. But I wanted to learn the corporate system. I wanted to learn how successful business owners had done it before I went into my own business. And so I told myself that I was going to give myself 5 years in corporate America, just 5 years to figure it out, to go up the ranks, to connect with different individuals, to build my network. And then I was going to go into entrepreneurship. And that's exactly what I did. I was able to get in with multiple companies. I was able to get promotion after promotion, moved up into like manager and one director role. And then from there, I made the leap of faith to go full time into my own business. And it was not just like let me just go figure it out. I had a good transition, while I was working with my last company. I started to bring on clients for my
Yeah.
marketing business one by one. I started to create SOPs and build out an actual structure. And then from there, I was able to bring on contractors and a one full-time employee eventually to go into my full-time business. And so for me, it's all about strategy. I tell everybody, like, you don't have to just like jump. Everybody just take the leap. Well, the leap can be, from this to right here. Some people want to take the leap from here
Yeah.
to over here, and that's okay if God tells you to do that. But I truly believe
Yeah.
that set yourself up for success
Yeah.
if you strategically build out a plan. And for me, just to share, my strategic plan was, okay, instead of jumping out in entrepreneurship and trying to get one client here and one client there and I said, I want to connect with other businesses so
Yeah.
that I can either be a contractor with them, or I can, if they're a B2B
Mm-hmm.
sales, like if I'm trying to get sales from the client, I can have a contract that's 1 year contract. And now I know, okay, my salary is built out for the entire year. So for me, it was all about just essentially
Yeah.
making sure that I had a long-term contract with a couple successful businesses so that I can ensure my success.
So for someone who is in corporate America right now, struggling,
Yeah.
confused, I want to set up a business, I want to get into entrepreneurship. What would your advice be?
My advice would honestly be, really decide what it is that you want to become. Because a lot of people, I think they get in corporate America
Yeah.
and they're just like, oh, I have a job, I'm secure. But honestly, no one's secure. Whether you have a job, whether you don't have a job, anything can change at any moment. So for me, I was always
Yeah.
strategic in corporate America. It was like, okay, what skills do I need to learn? I'm doing my job, but what other skills do I need to learn in order to be, we say recession proof. I want to be recession proof. I want to be where I add so much value to this organization that they can't fire me. And that was my goal when I was with multiple organizations in corporate America.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, what skills do I need to learn? What tools do I need to know how to operate? And how much value is my position on the bottom line of this business? Where they're like, if we fire anybody, we're not firing him because he adds value. And I think a lot of people don't have that. They don't have that vision.
Yeah.
They're just thinking, oh, it's a 9 to 5. I put my 40 hours in, I get paid. But it's like, you probably want
Yeah.
to get a little bit more out of your job, because if they fire you, then now you have to go find a whole new job. And we already know how competitive this market is. So for me, I
Yeah.
would say, number
Mm-hmm.
one, again, do your job. Make sure you're good at your job, number one. Number two, network with the right people. Connect with your manager, build a good relationship with
Yeah.
them, connect with their manager, connect cross functionally. Learn, who is in IT, learn who is in marketing, learn who is in accounting, and build those connections also. One, because you want to just have allies and people within your
Yeah.
workspace. But two, if you go and you want to start your own business or you want to transition, you're going to need people that understand those different spaces. So when
Mm-hmm.
I left and I wanted to transition out of corporate America, I knew
That's
somebody that was an accountant who helped me with my finances. I knew somebody in HR who helped me with hiring. I knew somebody, and I had
yeah.
a mini team of consultants that I was able to use because I had a
Yeah.
relationship with them. And so I just want people to stop thinking short term and start thinking long term. Some people go to work and like, I don't like them, I'm not talking to them. Well, if you don't talk to anybody, then you have no relationships. Then what happens when you need a recommendation letter for your next job? What happens when, that person that was at your job
Yeah.
goes into a new job and now they can hire you, but they don't know you, So it's all about, like I said, be strategic, do your job,
Yeah.
network. And number three, start to build desirable skills, high income skills. I was in marketing. Marketing, you can make some good money if you know how to do a few
Yeah.
things, but I knew copywriting, I knew that SEO, I knew that certain web developing, certain skills were
Yeah.
going to pay way more money. And so once I identified how the skills I needed to learn, even if I was a little bit dangerous at them, but needed to know how in order to be like I said, recession proof where they wouldn't fire me. That's what I did. I went and got certifications. I went and learned those skills. And then when it came down to having to fire individuals, they were like, well, Dre, he may not be a web designer or developer, but he knows a little
Mhm.
bit about it. So if he knows his job, he knows how to do this. well, then he's more marketable than the person that knows one skill, you know? So that's kind of like my, I would say, advice to anybody that's in corporate America.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's usually that fear. A lot of people have that fear. They're like, "Oh, am I gonna make it? So how were
Yeah.
you able to scale through that fear? There's always that
Yep.
fear.
Yep.
Always. How were you able to scale through
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's you said how was I able to scale like within corporate America, or are you talking about within like business?
the fear? No, I mean, how were you able to scale through the fear of moving from corporate America
Oh,
straight into entrepreneurship?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like I said, I I put my ducks in a row. You know, I didn't just like some people. What they do is they have a business idea. They're like, I want to start. I want to start I
Yeah.
don't know, a candle business. Let's say that. But they'll be working a job where they're making great money. Let's just say they're making like $75,000 a year. Okay, decent money. And they'll have that job and they'll keep talking like, oh, I want to open a candle business. One day I'm going to do this. Okay, I want to take the leap of faith. And you have some individuals that will quit their job and go start a candle business, and they have never made a candle. They have never made a sale. They have never had a customer. And it's like, well, is that the smartest way to do that? Or person B will be someone who's in corporate America. I'm person B, where I would say, okay, I'm making good money right now. I'm secure. My bills are paid. Why don't I take
Mm-hmm.
$500 from every pay period and use that to start building my candles? Then why don't I pay somebody or myself build the
Yeah.
website? Then why don't I, and I start I was building my business while I had a paycheck, while I had security, while I had income. And as you start to do that, the fear is a little bit off you, because when you are at work and you're either
Yeah.
about to get fired or that boss is making you mad and you're about to quit, if you have a security saying, okay, well, on average, I know I sell about 50 candles a month, which makes me maybe $2,000 or $3,000. Now, when I take the leap of faith, I'm not taking a leap of faith with $0 coming in every month.
Yeah.
I'm taking a leap of faith with $2,000. Now, it may not be as much as I
Yeah.
made in my job, but that is going to open up. But when I quit, I have 40 hours now to go do my business full time. And I have a structure
Yeah.
and I have a plan in place that I know that works. So for me, it's like fear, and my dad always said this: fear is false evidence appearing real. Fear is not really a thing.
Appearing
It's
real.
right here in our mindset. And the way to eliminate fear
Yeah.
is to do it again and again. I always give this analogy to individuals.
Yeah.
We all were fearful when we first were trying to learn how to ride a bike. But what's the only way to learn how to ride a bike? To get on the bike and to fall down. The only way
It's
you
to
can
write
learn
it.
is you get on the bike and you have to fall down. And eventually you fall down enough times, you learn, okay, I did this right, I did this wrong, and you're riding a bike. Or same thing, a baby learning to walk. They get up, their legs wobble, they fall down. They get up,
Mm-hmm.
until they're able to walk. And it's the same thing within business. It's like, yes, it's scary, but it's scary because you're not taking the steps every day. The more you start taking the steps and you start failing and you start what I call learning, I don't believe you fail. You either win or you learn. The more you start to learn, then you're like,
Yeah.
oh, wow, okay. And now you have a business that's making money. And it's like, oh, crap, I was scared of the idea. But I teach individuals, don't be scared of the idea, just start the execution. And once you start to execute, you start to
Mm-hmm.
get better and you learn faster and you win. And so eventually you win. Hopefully you win. So, yeah.
So, what was that point when you noticed that your marketing group has gotten here? You scaled. What was that point?
I would say back in 2020, um, it was around COVID. I
Okay.
had my marketing business and I had about 3 or 4 clients that were paying me monthly. And then I had like one-off clients that I would get every so often.
Okay.
And when COVID hit, I had about 3 churches
Okay.
reach out to me and they were like, hey, Dre, we need to go live streaming. We need social media. We need to keep people engaged. We need your help. And from there, I knew I had made it when I couldn't do it alone anymore. I needed to call a team to help. And so I had
Yeah.
to hire people to go live stream because it was churches, and most churches start at the same time, around 9 and 10 a.m. And so it was like, oh crap, I can't be at 3 churches at
Yeah.
once. I have to hire, And so I decided to hire some individuals. We had meetings. We learned how to, live stream. And that was a learning curve. But again, we learned, we learned fast. We worked together. We researched. We did our job. And from there, I knew that when I was able to start employing contractors and employing people, I said, okay, this is getting serious. I have to, get somebody from HR. I need to really make sure I'm doing this right. So that was when I
Yeah.
knew that my business was going on the up and up. And from there, I said, hey, I told my whole team, I said, this is our Facebook moment. This is that moment where Facebook decided to go public and, I was like, this is our moment. If we can treat these clients with the best respect, give them the best results, they're going to never leave us because we went through them when they were at their worst, when they were in the mud, when they needed help. And we gave them everything that we had. And from there, from 2020 to 2025 now, going to 2026, we have clients that have been with us for over 5, going on 6 years.
Whoa. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So since 2020,
Since
what were the challenges you've actually gone through? Yeah, what were the challenges you've gone through, while growing your marketing company?
Yeah, I mean, there's been multiple challenges. Marketing, to be honest, a lot of times is subjective. Like everybody's not going to like every brand. Some brands are going to be before their time.
That's true.
Some brands are going to be after their time. And it's our job to identify like what does the market being people, what is it that they want? What is it that they're demanding? A lot of times individuals, they'll bring us products or services, and we may think that, okay, we can market this. But then at the end of the day, we realize may not be a good fit.
Yeah.
So some of the challenges, I'm very public about it. It's like, I've had individuals ask for refunds because they were like, oh, I didn't get results. I want my money back. And it's like, we can't promise anything, but we try to do our best, and so I've had troubles with that.
Yeah.
I've had some clients, get to the place where they're like, they didn't like the result and they tried to ask for money and they tried to sue us. I've been sued before, now granted, they didn't win because we didn't do anything wrong. We had contracts and everything documented, but at the end of the day, you're going to run into adversity. You're going to run into challenges. You're going to run into, bad customers and bad clients and, sometimes team members. I've had some team members that I've had to let go because they weren't doing their job or they weren't doing it to the best of the ability I thought they could be doing it. And so you have to fire people, and that sucks because nobody wants to take, I'm paying people, this is their livelihood. Nobody wants to take money out of people's families. So I think for me, a lot of the challenges have just been personnel challenges, dealing with clients, dealing with people, because I am still the face of the company. If there is a problem within a client or within one of my team members, I have to be the one that addresses that. I have to be the one that, comes to a conclusion. So I would say that for those out there that may be listening, there's something that, my mentor once taught me, and I'll share with you all here. He calls it the 3 Qs. You have IQ, you have EQ, and you have GQ. So IQ, he always says, are you smart? In business, you have to continue learning and you have to make sure that you're smart. What books are you reading? What newsletters are you staying up to date on? What are you following on social media? Are you smart? EQ, are you emotionally intelligent? Do you know when to read a room and how to read a room? Do you know when your client is upset? Do you know when they're happy? Do you know when you need to pivot? Do you know when your team members are upset or happy or when you need to pivot? Because sometimes you may have a goal or direction or something that your team doesn't align with. Are you able to emotionally read that room and say, okay, you know what? Let's have a team meeting. I see things aren't going well. Let's talk about it. Let's pivot. And then make sure everybody's bought in. And then you have GQ. And GQ is not all about style. GQ is, how do you present yourself? How do you speak to others? Are you nice? Are you kind? What does that look like? And I've learned that in business, if you focus on IQ, EQ, and GQ, you are going to be ultimately successful. because you're going to have the intelligence, the emotional, the intelligence, the emotional intelligence, and then the kind of like the way that you interact with others, intelligence. And all three of those, I believe, are the success, as he says, the success to stay crispy. That's his thing, stay crispy. So yeah, those are some things that I would give to anybody who is starting a business or who is trying to grow their business.
Yeah. So tell me more about blending travel, because to an average entrepreneur, everybody wants to get to that point in business where they get to have things fully set up, and then they can be able to travel, live their best life, right? So
Yeah.
how can you be able to set up these systems to be able to live your business and still travel and still live the kind of lifestyle you want to live?
Yeah, great question. Great question. I would say I think there's two types of travel business owners. You have one who say, "Hey, I'm going out of town." They close their computer and they go for 2 weeks and they just travel. They don't work at all. Then you have the other one who is, okay, hey,
Yeah.
I travel, but travel is like me on the beach, me at the pool, me at the bar, always on the computer working because they have to work. And so I'm in the middle. I'll be honest. I'm in the middle. I don't just close my computer because I care about my clients.
Yeah.
I care about their results. I care about my team members. I care about my brand. I wanted to make sure that we're doing things right. And so I know that when I'm active, when my team knows that I'm bought in, they're bought in. And then you have days and times where, I'm traveling, with my wife or something like that. And she does not want me to have a computer open. She will close my computer. And so there are times where I have to also be like, okay, hey, this is our time. So team, you have to take over, like I'm out of office for the next like 24 hours. And I have my my operations manager, Bree. She runs the show at that point. She's very good at what she does. So for me, how do you blend travel? It's all about setting yourself up for success. Like I mentioned earlier, when I started my business, I was doing a lot of things on my own. But then I started to bring in contractors. I started to bring in other people that were honestly smarter than me. And so now when I do projects, I'm not the graphic designer and the web designer and the strategist. No. I have team members that hold me accountable just as I hold them accountable. So when I'm booking a trip to Japan or booking a trip to Dubai or to the Maldives or whatever, I have confidence in knowing that, okay, my operations manager has already built a timeline for these different projects or different operations. And these are the stepping stones, or these are the days that we need to have deliverables. And so for me, I'll say, okay, well, I can get ahead of this, do my part, and then I can go out of town and travel in peace, knowing that I've gotten my work done. But I think that where a lot of people, where they lose, or where they have opportunities to get better, is a lot of people don't have operations. They don't have a workflow. They don't have a system. And I tell people all the time, you can't run a business off of just waking up every day like, oh, what am I going to do today? That's not how any brand or business is ran. And so I challenge every entrepreneur that wants to travel, that wants to get out more, start focusing more on your engine rather than the outside of your car. And what I mean by that is a lot of people want to focus on their website, on their social media posts, make everything look all pretty and cute. But then when somebody wants to book you for a meeting, your links on your website don't work. Or you have a client, but there's no workflow of, okay, this is when I find the client. This is when I consult with them. Here's their contract. Here's the offer. Here's you have no process in place to even take a client from start to finish. You're making it all up. And so for me, if you're having to every time a new client comes, make all these different, you have no SOPs, well, then you're never going to have peace of mind going on vacation, or even probably you're not going to have enough money to even go on vacation because you don't have, a process and things in place. So for me, it's all about operations. It's about systems. It's about productivity. If you get those things in place and your engine is good, then your car is going to go forever. But I don't like, business owners that just go watch their car. I call it. They go fix their website every day. They go post on social media. But then when somebody tries to book with them or work with them, it's the hardest thing in the world to try to do, So I would say if people worked on that a little bit more, they would be able to travel and enjoy this beautiful earth that we live on.
Yeah, honestly, I can't agree more, because you're like preaching to the preacher, right? Because we talk about CRMs, we talk about automations, we talk about workflows every single time, and how important it is to have automation set up so that systems run while you live your life. I mean, you can't always be on your computer, right? So
Yep.
you are preaching to the preacher.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, who are the people? Who are the people who are your ideal clients when it comes to your Mindpreneur brand?
Um, my ideal clients are going to be, like I said, two type of clients. On one end, entrepreneurs who want to scale their brand, who are
Okay,
looking to go from,
okay,
maybe, $2,000, $3,000 a month in their business to $10,000 a month in their business.
mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times
Okay,
it's not that they don't have the skills, it's that they don't have the systems or productivity in place. Like they're good at what they do,
okay,
but they don't know how to arrange it so that it makes sense for their lifestyle. And then on the other end, I have, like I said, like entrepreneurs, individuals who work for an organization, who work for corporate America, who have a job, let's say, and they want to grow in their job, in their career with leadership, or they just want to improve on their skills. Now, I don't have every skill. I don't teach every skill. But what I do is I teach
yeah,
how to set yourself up for success, So I teach a lot of productivity hacks, which is like, okay,
yeah,
if you want to be more dedicated to your goal, what does that look like? Well, like let's say I want to lose weight. Okay, how am I setting myself up for success? Have I taken all of the junk food out of my refrigerator? Okay, have I scheduled my workouts? If I
yeah,
have scheduled my workouts, are they on my Google Calendar? Are they on my
yeah,
phone? Do I get reminders? If I do I have an accountability partner that's also going to text me or meet me at the gym? Okay, I do. Then how are we tracking our goals? How do we know what success is? What is our goal and what time is that goal supposed to end? Okay, and I'm teaching all of these steps. It's like, okay, and basically I put it into like a somewhat of a package to say, hey, this is the formula for success. Science
yeah,
has shown that when individuals write down their goals, when they set their environment for success, they start reading more, they start getting around the right people, they start executing daily, and they track their goals. Science shows that they're 45 to 70% more likely to achieve that goal. So it's part me teaching these productivity hacks and
yeah,
skills and giving them systems that they can plug into, while also giving them a community where we talk about wins. We talk about learning opportunities and what maybe I did wrong. We have a Discord where we discuss, hey, who what platform are you
okay,
using today? Oh, I just found out you can do this on Instagram and it's helping me grow my following. Oh, I just found out this project management software helps me with my onboarding with my clients. Like we talk about these different things and it has helped individuals grow their business, scale. I've had people in my community become debt free. I've had people, grow into in the organization and become directors and vice presidents. I've had individuals start their own business and now they're a full-time entrepreneur. Like there's been so many wins within our Discord and within our group, and I'm just super excited just to be a part of these individuals' journeys.
awesome, awesome, Andre, awesome.
Yeah,
Honestly, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. It's been a pleasure.
yeah, thank
So,
you.
but can you share with our audience how they can reach out to you, just in case they need you? You know,
Absolutely, yeah,
how can
yeah,
they reach
yeah.
out to
So,
you?
okay, yeah. So, as far as me personally, my website is motivationaldre.com. So, motivation, ALD as in dog, RE.com. And then on all things social media,
Okay.
Twitter, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, Instagram, Motivational Dre. So again, motivation, ALD as in dog, RE, Motivational Dre.
Awesome, man. Awesome. It's so nice having you. And it's been a pleasure talking with you for the last few minutes. It's been mind blowing. Like, you've actually opened up my mind. And I'm sure you've opened up the mind of so many people out there, who are stuck between, corporate America or even in their own local jobs that want to move out, take that stride.
Yeah.
Today you've actually opened their minds to seeing that it is possible. and really appreciate you for coming on this show. So thank you so much. Thank you so
Yes,
so
thank
much for
you.
coming on this show. Take care of yourself, man. I hope to still see you later. We'll have to talk about this again and again and again.
Yes, absolutely, man. We definitely need to reconnect. I would definitely want to chat more and just learn what you've been up to. So we'll talk about that offline, though.
All right, all right. So thank you so much. All right,
All right.
all right. So I just okay.